We just arrived in Colorado and it's pretty much dinner time, so the first thing I'm gonna do, make dinner. Tonight, we're going to be making cheese enchiladas in the microwave. And that's just gonna be dinner. This place isn't spectacular. I don't know what is. It's a little windy, I hope you can hear me, but look, you got water, you got green trees, you can get a little bit of the white snow cap back there. What'd you think?
I love it.
Today I am in Colorado on the next leg of my photography road trip, and I am looking at the San Juan Mountains out here that are currently still snow capped. I have the Fuji X-T3 and right now I have the 5140 on it. And there's kind of two things I wanted to mention and talk about today, or two versions of this photo that I wanted to talk about today. And that's the kind of zoomed in version of this, and then a little bit wider, but using some of these trees in the foreground a little bit as a frame within the frame. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of these photos and then show them to you and then come back and we'll talk about them. Welcome back to the office. Real quick, let's talk about these two photos and using other items in the frame to maybe frame your subject. Now, in this case, there were some trees up front that I was able to use in the foreground and then focus on the mountains in the background. And then I also took the same photo, but without any of that, just zoomed in on the mountains. Now, you might have an opinion on which one you like more than the other, but I'm not going to talk about which one I like right now. I'm going to just talk about some compositional differences and when I think it helps to use this technique of framing something within a frame. Now, this can also be referred to as shooting through something. So if you are shooting through a tree or a bush or behind a wall, that because of your shallow depth of field is blurred out, so it's really not the subject of the photo, but is focusing in the composition on the true subject. And in this case, that's the mountains. Now, this photo gives more context to what's happening. You can see the lake, you can see some of the other mountains in the area, you obviously see the trees in the foreground, as well as the mountains in the background. You have more context in this photo, yet your subject is still very clear and defined. In the other case, without it, there is nothing distracting you from what the subject is. Obviously, the subject of the second photo is the mountains. There's nothing else there, there's nothing else to look at, it is just the mountains. Now again, this is going to come down to personal preference, but I wanted to share this as just another tool that you can have in your toolkit. When you are out making photos, you can decide, maybe take both and see which one you like most. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Which one do you like, either photo 1 or photo 2? I'm also going to be posting these photos over on my Instagram, so follow me at I'm Aaron Ross. And while you're at it, Twitter too, same handle, I'm Aaron Ross. All right, so it's the next day now, and I probably just jumped back to me in the office somewhere talking about those last photos, but I am walking around just probably doing about 4 or 5 miles of hiking and taking photos along the way. I wouldn't say conditions are great, the light is pretty harsh, but there are some just amazing peaks and little details that I'm trying to pick out. I've mainly been using the X-T3, obviously, with the 35 f2, and although you're not going to see them in this video, I've now switched over to the film camera. So the Nikon FM with the 50mm f2, f2, and I will be sharing a film video, kind of all the film photos that I take on this whole road trip later on. So make sure and subscribe so that you know when that video comes out. But wanted to share some of the photos I've been making on this little hike. like those bonus photos, but that is going to do it for this week's video. I did want to take one moment and just say thank you. I know we recently crossed 2,000 subscribers here on the channel, and that means a lot. I know that's a small number in the grand scheme of YouTube, but to me that's a pretty big deal. Think about 2,000 people kind of hanging out and watching me do what I do, and that's a little nerve-wracking. If I were to be like public speaking in front of 2,000 people, I'd probably get clammy hands. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for what we're building here on this channel, and make sure and subscribe so that you know when the next video comes out. But until next time, I'm gonna go make some photos. I hope you do too.